Happy Thursday. I don't know what we call Thursday. Do we just call it Lawyer Reacts Live? Is it coffee and Kersey on a Thursday? I don't know. I don't know what it is. No. I could hear myself. That's not good. We don't need to hear myself. Hi. Happy Thursday. No, I'm not on a plane yet. I'm going to be on a plane. Shit's going to keep happening. We've got a bunch of stuff to talk about today, but the main topics, we're going to be talking about the hearings yesterday on the Gabby Petito lawsuits, a quick road so far of what those lawsuits are for those of you that are like, what are the lawsuits, blah, 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 blah. And then we're going to cover this new David Dobrik lawsuit. It's not a in-depth flushed out lawsuit. So we're going to just do the things. So the text crew, yes, I texted. We got some extra text while we were working things out. So I am optimistic we will be able to sort something out for a little bit, perhaps while I look for a new solution, because I am still big mad. But I think we're going to be able to work something out. I don't want me being mad to also be the reason I don't do something, because sometimes I can get a wee bit stubborn, even when. So sometimes I can get stubborn. My camera moved, so I can't see hold on. We're going to Emily, are we doing this all live? Yes. All right, there we go. Because I think we're going to bing at 650 today, and that's just wild. I also want to see how we like doing 2 morning streams, because I'm not going to be able to do Friday Night Live this week, and in the fall, there's going to be some things where I'm not able to do Friday Night Live. So we're just going to see how it goes. We're going to talk about those things. I don't want to wait. Oh, I totally forgot to notify Patreons. I'm sorry. I'm going to go do that now. I don't want to wait to cover these topics in a week or so, because especially with the Petito hearing, I worry that there is and can be misunderstanding about what that hearing was and what's coming next, even though the judge hasn't ruled yet. I've seen a lot of conversation about, why was Johnny Depp even mentioned? He wasn't, his case was. And so I feel like we can, or at least I can help with what happened legally. What's it mean? What are the next steps? The challenges that case faces, because I know a lot of people are very optimistic and want to see the laundries held responsible, but that might not happen in this way. And we need to have a conversation about that. Like we just really do. So those are the things that we're going to get today. And I've got coffee. I haven't even finished my cold brew yet. So we're going to do the things. So we should just roll the intro and get into it. It's good to see you. Emily, are you live streaming because you have anxiety about packing and travel? Never. I would never do that. Are you having VidCon FOMO? Of course not. Yes, I am. And are we just going to talk about the law things with the law nerds and just feel like we get to be with our community? Yep, that's exactly what we're going to do. So let me know where you're coming in from. We put up a poll. I want to know how many of you actually know who David Dobrik is. A lot of you that found me through traditional pop culture, like the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case, are like, what is this world of internet culture? And I'll do a quick road so far on that case too. It's going to be related to the case. There's a lot more surrounding Dobrik and the Vlog Squad that we're not going to get in today. But if you want to go down that rabbit hole, there are plenty of creators that have that rabbit hole just waiting for you. Let's get into it.
Hey there. If we haven't met yet, I'm Emily D. Baker, the badass lawyer and everyone's favorite legal commentator. I'm the host of The Emily Show, and I break down the legal shit behind the news and pop culture stories we all want to talk about. I have been a licensed attorney for over 15 years, but this is not legal advice. I should warn you, I'm a big fan of the cursey words. This channel is where the law nerds unite to talk about facts, not fuckery.
I know David Dobrik from Body Language. Exactly. Well, David Dobrik, we will talk about. I think we're going to talk about Gabby Petito first, because A, it's a harder case, and B, it really does need to just be discussed. And so as we move into Dobrik and then move into questions, it's a little easier to be a little more lighthearted. I've talked about this in other content when I covered the Petito case. I should just swoop and get into it and give kind of my disclaimer as I swoop and get into it. So for those of you in the replay crew, you know I love you. Replay crew, you know how much I love you. I don't want you to miss all of the things. So with that, let us swoop real quick and do a road so far. Where's my swoop? Where's my swoop? We're going to do a road so far. Well, no, we're not. We're going to do disclaimers first. Because this case is really difficult, and it's just a hard case. One, because there's no good resolution to it. If you did not follow the Gabby Petito case when it went down last year, a young woman who was also on YouTube, on social media, doing van life stuff with her fiance, Brian Laundrie. He returned home to his family's home in Florida with her van without her. And it began a months long kind of manhunt to find her. And her body was found partly through other YouTubers seeing that van and then searching in that area where the van was. Her family had been putting out statements asking for any information from his family. They were engaged. She had lived with his family for a long time. And again, this is a very brief summary. There's so much more information in this case, and I have a few videos on it. But his family basically said nothing. During the time of the search, there was one statement made by the family attorney, Bartolino, who is a New York attorney, not a Florida attorney, that will come up in relation to what we are talking about today in the motion to dismiss. During the time that they were searching for Gabby Petito, or just, I think it might have been just after she was recovered and her remains were identified, there was a charge in Wyoming against Brian Laundrie for illegally using her debit card to withdraw money. And that seemed to happen right after the time when she was killed. There was then a hunt, and at that time, a warrant went out for Brian Laundrie, but that was substantially later, after he had returned back to Florida, gone on vacation with his family, things like that. It seems that he went out into the wilderness after his family went on vacation and took his life. He was recovered after weather had subsided in the area. Not subsided, but there was a ton of rain. The area where he was recovered was flooded. And so after that, it all subsided. His body was then found. It was matched through dental records. It was determined to be him. A tragic case. There were other things ancillary to it. There had been a traffic stop that had been investigated for domestic violence. There were lots of conversations about what was going on in this relationship. And with that, it's just a tragic case. There is so much that we wanted to see happen. There was so much we wanted to see Brian Laundrie's parents do differently. But this is a case where it is very hard to look at morality versus legality because it feels fucking awful. And that is what we are talking about today, the legality of the thing, while addressing the morality and the feelings of the thing, because there's a lot of feelings. But that doesn't mean that the Laundries did anything legally improper. And it's hard for me to even say legally wrong, because wrong in this case is so very broad. So much could have gone differently that might have saved Gabby Petito's life. And it doesn't help at this point for me as a legal commentator to be like, well, could have done this, could have done that, because we are where we are and we need to talk about what's going to happen with these cases. So after the FBI released a statement essentially that this case was closed, they released information that there had been a journal or a notebook of Brian Laundrie that was recovered, and that it indicated that he had taken Gabby Petito's life. I think there was lots and lots and lots of speculation about that, and that was clarified. We don't know everything that happened here. This case is very, very hard for me personally to talk about just based on my own life experience. This case hits a lot of things for me, which is why I don't talk about it a ton. It is a very, very difficult case to cover, and it's just heartbreaking. But we are going to cover the legality of it. With that said, I want to make sure that we keep the same chat fuckery-free zone. Is that what we're going to call it now? Just the fuckery-free zone? I know there is a lot of hate for the Laundries and how they handled this case. Completely understand. But in this chat, we talk about the facts. And in this case, the law is on the Laundries' side. And that is difficult to talk about because I know there's a desire to see them held to see someone held responsible. And that is really, really frustrating because it feels like there's no resolution here. There's no justice here. And there's just nothing. At least in cases I have dealt with in my personal life with those who have been killed, that person is sitting in prison for the rest of their life. But even that doesn't make it any better. There are no good solutions in cases like this. Even if you go through the court process, even if there is a conviction, even if that person goes to prison for the rest of their life, it doesn't make it okay. And it doesn't make it better. And I think these lawsuits are the Petito family trying to get some answers. I think they deserve answers. I don't know if they're going to get the answers that they're seeking, and I don't like that. But I don't know if this lawsuit is the solution. And that is a very difficult thing to talk about. So we're going to talk about the two lawsuits that are pending, and then we're going to get into the motions. I will let you know I do have a spot that I need to do in just a few moments because I do, because I do. And I will share that with you in just a moment. But the two cases we are talking about today that came up in court, one I've gone over, one I have not gone over on the channel yet. But there is a lawsuit between the Petitos and the Laundries. This is the one that I will be focusing on more. I've broken down this entire lawsuit. I broke down some of the motion to dismiss, but not the reply. And if you want me to go back and do that, I can, or I can cover the motion a little bit more when the court rules on this in a few weeks. So let me go to share screen like a professional. WAP. Emily, is your screen sharing ready? No, it's not. So with this is the lawsuit from Gabby Petito's parents, Joseph Petito and Nicole Schmidt, against Brian Laundrie's parents, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie. This lawsuit was not the most clear complaint I've ever read. It is essentially seeking recovery for intentional infliction of emotional distress based on the pattern of behavior that the Laundries engaged in not disclosing where Gabby Petito was when they were searching for her or for her remains, and not helping with that process, causing further outrageous distress. And with that, they also indicate a quote from Bertolino, the family attorney, and this is going to come up a lot when I talk about the motion. On September 14th, with full knowledge that Gabby Petito had been murdered by their son, Christopher Laundrie and Roberta Laundrie, through their lawyer, issued the following statement. It is our understanding that a search has been organized for Miss Petito in or near Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming. On behalf of the Laundrie family, it is our hope that the search for Miss Petito is successful and that Miss Petito is reunited with her family. They are talking about whether or not this is an affirmative statement. The judge asked a lot about this statement, and we're going to talk about this statement. It is the position of the Petitos that the Laundries were aware on August 28th that Gabby Petito had been killed by their son. And so every action that they took after that is part of the severe emotional distress with the outrageous behavior. They don't lay it out super clearly in this motion. They use kind of the words that allowed us to guess that that was the cause of action that they were going for by saying that this is, outrageous, legally outrageous, not like emotionally and societally outrageous, and going through those causes of action. So if you want to see me break down this complaint, it is in other content. And that's what we are going to talk about with this motion. The second one is the wrongful death lawsuit that we have not broken down a lot. It is a very, I hate to say standard, but it is a wrongful death suits or wrongful death suits. Someone died. It shouldn't have happened. Somebody is arguing that it was wrongful. There's your wrongful death lawsuit. And we're seeing these in the Rust case as well. So this is from Nicole Schmidt as the administrator of the estate of Gabby Petito against Barry Spivey, curator of the estate of Brian Laundrie. So this is Gabby Petito's estate suing Brian Laundrie's estate for the death of Gabby Petito. This is an action for wrongful death and damages which exceed $30,000, exclusive of prejudgment interest, costs, and fees. The court has jurisdiction. Nicole Schmidt is the mother of the deceased, Gabby Petito, the administrator of her estate. I don't know how, as a parent, you walk through administering your child's estate. Those are things I can't even contemplate out loud because they are too awful to even consider. It's just so hard. And that is something that I would think would be hard very much for both families. Gabby Petito survived by her mother and father. Defendant Barry Spivey was appointed curator of the estate of Brian Laundrie by court order on April 13th. The Laundrie family is also having to deal with the estate of Brian Laundrie. So they are also administering his estate. This was the individual appointed to administer the estate. That is going on in court right now. That is all sealed. And that will remain sealed. It talks about the facts of this case, which we know from other content and which we know from, while this case had such broad national attention. They talk about the last communication on August 27th. They say it's believed that on August 27th, Brian Laundrie murdered Gabby Petito. The cause of death was blunt force injuries to her head and neck with manual strangulation. Again, that is a coroner designation. Gabby Petito was 22 years of age at the time of her death. Brian Laundrie took his own life on or around October 20th, 2021. And then they talk about the proximate cause of Brian Laundrie's conduct, the killing. And that is why they are suing for the wrongful death. So those are the two cases that were in court yesterday on motions. Before we get into those, because of the time we have reached into the video, it is time for me to put in a sponsor. It is always, and I love this sponsor. I love working with NordVPN. It's always awkward having those in videos where we're talking about difficult cases, but so many of the cases we talk about are difficult. So thank you as we talk really briefly about NordVPN for our monthly sponsor spot. They have been so gracious with the channel and covering the channel. And I appreciate that. So thank you. We're going to roll this. A huge thank you to today's sponsor, NordVPN. If you're like me, most of your internet searches lately have just had to do with Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. But if you're ready to stop being tracked across the internet, it is time for a VPN. If you have not tried NordVPN yet, you can use them on
6.
And do you get a 30-day money-back guarantee?
Yes.
And do you use NordVPN?
Yes.
Does mom make you use NordVPN?
Yes.
The thing I love about NordVPN is it doesn't slow down your web browsing, your streaming, or streaming, stuff through Netflix and Hulu and whatever other platforms you were using, which is really important when myself and my kids are all relying on NordVPN because, oh my, if it slowed down their gaming, how I would hear about it. And really, I don't want to have to fight with them over using a VPN, which is why we've got Nord on all of our devices. If you're ready to check it out, there is a risk-free 30-day money-back guarantee, and you can just go to our link down below, nordvpn.com/Emily D. Baker for your huge savings. That's right, nordvpn.com/Emily D. Baker, and give Nord a try. Hey, risk-free for 30 days.
Thank you, NordVPN.
Bye.
Peace.
Let's get back to our content. He said peace. He did. Why? Because he watches YouTube, and a number of the YouTubers he likes are also sponsored by NordVPN. And so he was like, I want to do the NordVPN spot. And so in a moment of lightness, while we talk about a very, very dark case, that is the G. We are going to get into what was happening in court yesterday. So yesterday, there were motions with regard to both cases that came into court. I'm going to cover the wrongful death suit first because it's short, truly, and then we'll cover the other one. In the wrongful death case, Gabby Petito's family's attorney said that no one had responded to the lawsuit yet. There was no appearance, no attorney had appeared. The attorney who they sued as the curator of the estate was like, look, no, the parents should be handling with this. The parents should be the ones defending this lawsuit. The attorney indicated to the court that it was his understanding that the parents would not be defending this lawsuit and let it go to a default. I think that's probably what's going to happen for a few reasons. One, the estate is the only thing that can be gone after for money. So once they settle the estate of Brian Laundrie, if he had $5 in his bank account, then that settles out. If he had $20,000 of credit card debt and $5 in a bank account, then that's what settles out. So I would imagine, and this is speculation based on their age, and that they were van lifing, I imagine that the estate probably does not have a substantial sum of property or assets that are going to be distributed, and there is probably nothing monetarily to get from this estate. So if the Laundries don't want to show up and defend this and spend the money on hiring a lawyer, they can let it go to a default judgment and say, go ahead, try to recover the judgment against an estate that has nothing. Okay. Because legally it does not impact them. I would imagine this estate just does not have the funds. So Gabby Petito's attorney said that they expected that this would allow a default to be entered. Once a default is entered, then they will go to a jury trial. They'll set it for jury trial. And what they'll do is call a jury and be like, this case is defaulted, and then enter a verdict. So the court went through that process yesterday and said it's a little premature because it's a little premature because the default hasn't been entered yet. They're giving 20 days to allow a response. I don't think we'll see a response. I think it will just go forward. So that's it. And if there is money in Brian Laundrie's bank account, it would be offset by any debts that are owed. And just looking at the docket of the estate, it seemed that there were some debts owed. So credit cards and stuff would be paid off. 20 to 30,000 isn't worth the fight. It's not worth the fight. And whatever, once all of it's done, it will just, if they get a default judgment, once the estate is settled, that money will just go to the Petitos, and that will allow it to be done. So that is probably the way that is going to happen. And I'm not surprised by that. So if there is $20,000 in an account, once debts are paid, then that will be, if there's a default judgment, then that will just be paid over to the Petitos, or to Gabby Petito's estate from Brian Laundrie's estate. And that will be that. So I imagine the wrongful death case we will not see a lot happening in court with it. I think a default will enter, and then that will move forward. The case where, and again, if the estate has no money left after debts and assets are settled, they cannot go after the parents for that. He is an adult. In the wrongful death suit, it stays to what he has. and that's it. So it will be anything in the estate, and that is all. That is it. So there's no going after the Laundries for anything in the wrongful death suit. That's not a legal possibility. With that, we're going to talk about this motion to dismiss. This is a very unique case in that you have two families in this lawsuit of deceased children. So the Petitos are trying to say that there was a duty for the Laundries to act in a way that's not kind of morally outrageous, in a way that caused them emotional distress through this intentional infliction of emotional distress. It is a very legally difficult case. I don't know if the Petitos hope to win this case or if they hope to get to discovery, to get to some answers. I suspect it's probably the second, that they hope to get some answers. And that is where I think they hope this case proceeds. The judge yesterday was via Zoom because the judge is in quarantine. And so the attorneys were in court, the Petitos were in court, and the Laundries were not present in court, which again, they had people camping outside of their home screaming at them for months and months and months. I'm not surprised they did not subject themselves to being on camera or being present in court. They're not obligated to be in court. So I'm not surprised by that. The motion to dismiss is a strong motion to dismiss. If the motion to dismiss gets granted, generally the court will allow leave to amend. And what that means is that the Petitos will have a chance to try to fix the complaint, to plead it in a way that it can sustain another motion to dismiss. And this is what we're seeing in like the Nirvana baby lawsuit, is there's a motion to dismiss, it got dismissed, they amend it, then there's another motion to dismiss, and then that goes on. At some point, the judge will like, you can't amend anything, you're done. So if this motion to dismiss gets granted, if this motion to dismiss gets granted, it will likely be granted with leave to amend so that they can allege a couple of things that came up, including that the attorney had knowledge from the attorney had the knowledge that the Petitos had, or the Laundries had, that Gabby Petito had been killed. And with that, we are looking at what the court said in this motion to dismiss. It is, again, a difficult legal theory. Normally, and we've covered other cases with intentional infliction of emotional distress, normally there is an affirmative thing that happens. In this case, the attorney for the Laundries is arguing the Laundries did nothing, and that failure to do, well, it's not a failure from their perspective, but that doing nothing is not something that they can be sued over, because doing nothing is not something that's actionable in a civil tort. You can't just say, well, they did nothing, so we're suing them. The Petitos are arguing that this pattern of behavior of remaining silent and not helping with the search for Gabby Petito caused prolonged distress as they were searching for her. And the statement by the attorney gave them affirmative hope. The judge said the statement's kind of innocuous, though. The judge asked very pointed questions at both attorneys. And I really actually liked the judge quite a bit in the way the judge was questioning the attorneys. The judge got to the heart of this case with both parties. For the Laundrie attorney, the judge is like, but what about the statement of the attorney? Because the statement of the attorney is not just, oh, they didn't act. The statement of the attorney is an affirmative statement. Now, none of these things rise to a criminal level. This is a civil case. Just remember, we're in the world of civil cases, torts. And he asked the Petitos, but where is there a legal duty here? I hear you about this conduct of behavior. I hear you about what happened. I hear you about the distress that the Petitos were under. No one is arguing that they weren't. But where is the legal duty here for them to do anything? And the court asked, can't I consider their potential First Amendment and Fifth Amendment rights? So the right to speak or not to speak, and the right to remain silent. It is very interesting on a motion to dismiss because you get the attorneys arguing against their position almost. And that's something that we saw in this. You got the Petito's attorney arguing, but where was the crime here? Saying they don't have a Fifth Amendment right because the Fifth Amendment right did not attach yet. We talked about this in Josh Duggar a bit. When does your right to remain silent attach? It's just not floating around all of the time, if that makes sense. So there has to be something that causes you to have the right to say, I'm not answering. The example the judge gave is an example a lot of people give. If you go into a deposition or into a criminal court, you have to assert the Fifth Amendment right on an answer that could actually subject you to criminal sanction or punishment. So if it's not a Emily, is it hard to answer anything as a lawyer sometimes? Yes, because it depends. Assuming it's not a fraud case where your identity is the thing that is going to make you like criminally liable, you can't just go into court and say, hey, can you state your name for the record? I plead the Fifth. Generally, your name is not what's subjecting you. Asterisks, there are cases where it is. I'm aware we're trying to make broad examples here. You know what I mean. So you can't plead the Fifth to every single thing. It generally goes question by question by question by question. And the court was asking that of the attorney for the Petitos, saying, but doesn't the Fifth Amendment apply here? And the court said, the court said, I can address if it's apparent on the four corners, any potential defense. If it's apparent within the four corners of the document, in this case, the complaint, effectively, you allege conduct which can be considered criminal on behalf of the defendants. I thought it was very interesting that the judge was like, hey, but the things you're saying have a potential, have an indicia of, were you helping or getting ready to help Brian Laundrie flee the country? Were you hiding him? And this is where the Petitos are then arguing almost against themselves, saying, no, there's no indication that any of what they were doing was criminal. He was at that point allowed to leave the country. He was not being looked for. At the time they were doing these actions, there was no warrant. There was no, he was not wanted. He was a free person that if he wanted to leave the country, could leave the country. If he was hiding out in his parents' home, he could hide. He didn't have to talk to the police. He was not obligated to. He was not obligated to really do anything until there was a warrant out for him, which came substantially later. So the Petito's attorney is now in the position of arguing, but where is the crime? There's no crime here. So there's no Fifth Amendment right. And so they don't have a defense of the Fifth Amendment because there's no Fifth Amendment right. And that is always very interesting in a circumstance where this is what the Petitos know, and they are in the position of arguing against themselves because they're having to say, but this isn't a crime yet. There's no Fifth Amendment right here. And so that's why they were arguing that there were no crimes. And I think that was probably confusing because I saw a lot of questions about it. That was confusing. Why are they arguing that there was no crime? Because so many feel that what the Laundries did was obstruction. If it was obstruction, the FBI would have charged them with obstruction. It wasn't obstruction. And he wasn't at that point wanted. So it's a very interesting thing to watch them have to argue almost in opposition to their position. But for the Petitos, they want this case to be, no, there was no Fifth Amendment right here. They can't use this as an affirmative defense because they were not under criminal investigation. No Fifth Amendment right attached here. They weren't being investigated for anything. There was not a warrant out for him. They weren't harboring a fugitive. They weren't aiding and abetting. There's no reason the Fifth Amendment attaches to them. They could have spoken. They don't want this to be a defense. The Laundrie family was asked very much about this statement by the attorney. And the Petito's attorney pointed out and said it very plainly in court that the only reason Stephen Bertolino, the attorney who would not stop talking while they were searching for Gabby Petito, The only reason that he is not being sued in this case as well is because he is not a resident of the state of Florida. I think they probably didn't want to have to deal with federal court, and they're going after it in Florida. They're not going after it in a way where you bring in defendants from all over, like in a federal case. So the judge did ask, I thought, very fair questions and really distilled the heart of this case. Even if this case gets past motion to dismiss, the issue of duty, legal duty, is going to be very hard. There is nothing that compels the Laundries to assist with an investigation. In fact, they have a right not to. There's nothing that compels the Laundries to say, hey, we know where Gabby Petito is. We can assist in you recovering her. There's nothing that forces them to do that. There is no legal duty there. And when the court asked the attorney about it, the attorney said, Your Honor, I'm struggling there. And the attorney tried to bridge away from that topic because the attorney can't answer in court in a way that's not truthful. There's a duty of candor to the court. And the duty of candor was the attorney saying, look, but with all of this and with the case law, what they did is outrageous. It fits this crime. And the court's like, but why did they have to say anything? And he's like, but they did. They said something through the attorney. And so the statement of the attorney and a legal duty are the crux here. I really think the Petitos just want answers. I really think they want discovery so they can try to get to the notebook. I really don't think they expect this case to go through a trial. I think it would be incredibly painful for them if it did. I don't think they want to get there, but I also, this is just my supposition and speculation. I think that they feel like they can't just do nothing and not have answers for their daughter. And I completely understand that and wanting to still fight for your child after she was murdered. And I completely get that. And I don't know if our legal system, that's not fair. I do know our legal system can't fix this for them. It just can't. It's not going to make it better. I hope that they get the answers that they are looking for, but our system can't fix the wrong that was done to them. Brian Laundrie can't be prosecuted. He's deceased. The Laundrie parents are not going to be criminally prosecuted based on the publicly available information. If there's more information there, I imagine that the FBI wouldn't have closed the case. But they don't have an affirmative duty to speak up, to say something, to tell the police where Gabby Petito was. They don't have a duty. And in fact, their constitutional rights protect them from that. You can't be forced to speak. You can't be forced to disclose things. And so there isn't a good answer here. At the end of the day, I don't think this lawsuit will be successful, but I hope that they get the answers that they are looking for by getting into discovery. I hope that they do. I don't know if they will, but I think the Petito attorneys are doing the best that they can to get past a motion to dismiss for that purpose. The Laundries are in a legally stronger position, but I don't doubt that all of these families are destroyed and nothing that happens is going to help. And the statements of the attorney were, these families knew each other. These families, Gabby Petito lived with them. But that's not going to rise to a legal duty. And I don't think our Constitution allows to affirmatively force people to disclose things, especially in a case where it can be criminal. I don't think we will see anything shifting where parents have to disclose that. There's just not a legal duty here. I think the case law has given them enough to bring this lawsuit in good faith. I think the case law has given them enough to try to make arguments here to get them into discovery. But I don't think at the end of the day, this suit will be successful. I think when you look at the elements of intentional infliction of emotional distress, we definitely get to some of them, but not enough of them for this case to survive. Because I don't doubt that this going on and not having answers and trying to find Gabby Petito, I have no doubt that this caused substantial additional distress to them. And that is, it's absolutely heartbreaking. But the court said it very, very succinctly but where is there a legal duty? And the court said, quote, this is where I'm having some difficulty. We're on a motion to dismiss where I have to assume facts are true. And you're trying to get me to assume the right to remain silent. Wait, that's the wrong one. That is not where is the court asked of the Petito's attorney, let's set aside the statement the attorney made. What duty did the Laundries have to do anything to help? And that is the crux of the case. And then the attorney said, it's a good question and one I'm struggling or have struggled with because they don't have a legal duty. And then he talks about everything that they did during that time. And the court said, no, let's get back to legal duty. I hear what you're saying. These facts may sound bad, but we're talking about a legal duty. What legal duty did they owe to Gabby Petito's parents? And the court is right. And that is where this lawsuit at the end of the day will likely not be successful. But again, I hope they get the answers. I hope they get the answers that they are seeking. I really, really, truly do. This is going to be a hard case to watch play out because this is a case where legality and morality are very different. It's also a case where evaluating our constitutional rights in a context that we fucking hate gives a very difficult time to grapple with where our constitutional rights are and where you defend those rights, even when the result is something that feels morally reprehensible. And this is essentially what law school was. It was grappling with but that seems wrong, but it's not legally wrong, and figuring out how you walk through it. And a lot of lawyers turn down the human side of, but this feels wrong, and are like, the law is the law is the law is the law. And that's where you see lawyers able to argue in court, but they don't, yes, I'm sorry for them, but they don't owe them anything. And it's just hard. So with that, we are going to move on. I hope that answers what's happening in that case. The court will get the written orders out within a few weeks. I will see what the court has to say in the written orders. The court can the court can deny the motion to dismiss and let the case go to discovery. And then other motions to try to end the case can come up. Or the case can be dismissed with leave to amend, which means there will be a new complaint and they can try to fix it. And then there will be another motion to dismiss. And then we'll see what happens there. And that is why this case is so hard. All of it's hard. All of it's hard because there's probably no answer and no one that's going to be held responsible. And that is hard. That's it. It's just hard. With that, we're going to move on to David Dobrik. So if you are not familiar with David Dobrik, I think we had put a poll up. If we end our poll, we're going to take a look at how many of you knew who David Dobrik is. And we're going to get into that lawsuit. And I'm going to give a quick road so far because I've been following this, I don't know, since it happened. It was interesting to watch it. Interesting to watch it play out. And so on the poll, do you know who David Dobrik is? 55% of you said yes. 44% of you said no, with over 14,000 votes. So a lot of you were like, who? So let's just do a quick road so far on who these individuals are. David Dobrik is a YouTuber. Oh, we binged. Yay. Should we just celebrate? I think we should. I think the celebration is we're moving into a new case. We're moving into a new case. Let's just bing. Let's just bing. We're at 650, the road to 650. And here we are. Oh, it binged. Move your head. Ah! It binged. So let's talk about who David Dobrik is. David Dobrik, let me pull up YouTube, is a YouTuber. David Dobrik was the, I don't know, creator channel who did the Vlog Squad. I don't know what year the Vlog Squad was big. This was never the kind of content that I watched. It's all very quick cuts, kind of like Jackass, but like not, and it just is not my style of content. It's very much content that appeals to an audience that is, I don't know, younger. So this is Dobrik's main channel. I don't know, 18 whatever million subscribers, makes vlogs. There's been a lot of scandals with the Vlog Squad. I'm not going to cover the Vlog Squad scandals. You are welcome to go down that rabbit hole. He's got a podcast channel with Trisha Paytas's ex. What's his name? This dude, Jason Nash. When I was posting about this on Twitter yesterday, I shared that David Dobrik had actually married Jason Nash's mom in a video. And I had forgotten, every time I go to look for a case in Los Angeles with David Dobrik, the divorce case comes up. And I had forgotten that they didn't just like stage a marriage so that David Dobrik could be Jason Nash, who's, you know, I don't know, 20 some odd years older than him. So he could be Jason Nash's stepdad. I forgot that they actually got like a marriage license and actually got married. And every time I see the divorce come up, I'm like, oh yeah, you actually had to pay to file for divorce. Because instead of just like, haha, we went to Vegas and pretended to get married, they actually got a marriage license and actually got married for a Vlog Squad vlog. So that he's given away Teslas. There's been a lot that's gone on with the Vlog Squad. Trisha Paytas used to be kind of Vlog Squad adjacent. Who else? Gabby Hanna was in the Vlog Squad. There's just been so much that has happened. If you want the history of the Vlog Squad, there's a big old rabbit hole of YouTube to go down. When Frenemies was still Frenemies, they talked about it quite a lot and really covered this situation like spiraling out of control very well. During COVID, the Vlog Squad stopped vlogging, I guess, and then they were going to have a like comeback video. Part of that comeback video involved a stunt with an excavator that left member of the Vlog Squad at the time, Jeff Wittek, severely injured. It had long been speculated about whether or not Jeff Wittek would sue David Dobrik, and whether he can and whether he can't and what have you. So this case, this current lawsuit is coming out of that excavator accident. If you want to know everything that went down with that, Jeff Wittek had what I thought was a really good, and I watched all of it on YouTube. I did not watch it. He put it on Patreon as well, like uncensored. I don't need to see injuries. I personally don't want to see it. But he put up a really good documentary about what happened. I think he called it "Don't Try This at Home." It was a really thorough investigation about a year ago, or a thorough breakdown about a year ago of what happened to him. It seemed like during this period of time with "Don't Try This at Home," somebody was saying, I'm going to come out with this if you don't come out with this. So it felt like he was being pressured to either release this story on his own, perhaps before he was ready, or not. A lot of ancillary stuff, a lot of other drama went down as all of this was going down. But if you want to see the entire breakdown, it is on Jeff Wittek's YouTube channel from about a year ago. There's 4 episodes, and you'll see all of them in, the millions. He's had something like 9 surgeries, almost lost his eye. I don't know if he's still at risk for that. It seems from everything I've seen that he might still be at risk for that. And not just broke his eye, but broke a lot. So with this excavator accident, from what I've watched on Jeff Wittek's channel and other channels that have broken this down, they were supposed to just be excavating around water on a giant, on a giant excavator. Let me see if it's in, I'm going to turn off the sound on this. Let me see if if the excavator is in his previews here for Don't Try This at Home. I don't know if it is. I am scrubbing through here and I do not see it referenced. All right, let me look. I'm going to see if I can just find a still of the excavator. Oh, it's interesting. These videos are age restricted. They're not super graphic. He put the graphic ones on Patreon. Oh, I've got it. I'm just trying to find the layout of where the excavator was so y'all can see it and see what that looks like without being, I am not going to be graphic. I do not want to be. I think I do not need to be. But this is let's see. I'm going to try to make this a little bit bigger. No, I'm not putting sound on. This is the excavator. David is filming in the excavator and pulling people around a lake without any safety concerns at all. I think the Wild West of the days of people being able to just do what the fuck ever on YouTube are going to end. I think that they are going to start being held to some of the standards we would see on a movie set. Don't get me started about Rust. We're not going to go down, how movie sets can also be dangerous. They can, but they at least have processes and procedures. This doesn't. And they're just kind of doing whatever. So it started with people swinging around and doing the wakeboarding. And then it started with David being like, hey, let's just swing people around on this rope is what it seems from this. I'm sure David's argument is going to be they wanted to do this. They thought this was a good idea. So David started swinging Jeff Wittek around on the excavator. And then the excavator stopped abruptly after it was going quite fast. And Jeff Wittek continued around and hit the side of the excavator and had a substantial head and brain injury, among other injuries. And that is the context of this lawsuit. From the context on social media, it seems that David Dobrik had agreed to pay for injuries, pay for medical bills, pay for surgeries. But Jeff had been an active YouTuber before this. This, I think, clearly changed what Jeff was doing on the platform and his work and his life going forward, because traumatic brain injuries are lifetime injuries. And I think one of the hard things about a traumatic brain injury is that you can't always see the injury and other people can't always see it, but it impacts you. So there are substantial injuries there. I can completely understand why Jeff Wittek is suing. And this is why, just doing pranks on YouTube, and they've done pranks in cars where I'm like, oh my God, someone is going to die doing this. Trisha Paytas has made videos saying someone is going to get seriously hurt in the stuff that they do because they just do not have a safe environment at all and no processes in place. And so when Casey Neistat started doing the documentary about David Dobrik that has not come out yet, and I don't know when the public will see it. It was premiered at South by Southwest. From reports of that, it seems that the documentary on David Dobrik started about the rise of YouTubers being these like media personalities, kind of supplanting traditional celebrity, blah, blah, blah. And then shifted to scandals that were happening within the Vlog Squad, allegations of sexual assault, and then shifted to also this. It seems from what Jeff has said on social media and on his podcast, there is a whole ass rabbit hole of context. I'm trying to summarize, and I still feel like I've been talking forever. It seems that as that was going down, David was talking about Jeff's part in this and what Jeff had done perhaps to cause this, and that Jeff was like, fuck that, I'm out. That seemed to be kind of how this went down, to the point where Jeff's like, fuck it, I'm done. From everything I've watched. And there we get this lawsuit. Jeff has been alluding to the fact that he was going to sue. Again, I think he should. We'll see if David Dobrik has companies, if he's held liable. The fact that David Dobrik wasn't held criminally liable is something I think he should be thankful for. I'm sure Jeff didn't want to pursue. He could have. So let's take a look at this personal injury lawsuit. And also, I will recommend that Lawyer Tom has a great video on this too, breaking down the different kinds of liability. He is a catastrophic injury attorney. So, you know, if you like Lawyer Tom, I hear that he's taller than Nick Rekieta, but if you like Lawyer Tom, he has a really good breakdown of the different types of injuries and liability and contributory negligence from a catastrophic injury attorney. Emily, are you a catastrophic injury attorney? No. Lawyer Tom is. Do you understand contributory negligence? Yes. But I would also supplement everything that I share with you with Attorney Tom's video on this as well, because I think he breaks it down really well, and I agree with him. I think even if Jeff Wittek was like, hey, we could do this, we could do that, he's not the one driving the excavator and has no control in that moment. In that moment. No, it's slander. It's slander. Also, for those of you that know that Nick Rekieta and Attorney Tom joke about their comparative heights, I think Attorney Tom is the taller of the two. That's what I've heard from Attorney Tom. I don't know. I haven't seen them both in the same place. And I haven't seen the two of them in the same place as Legal Eagle. So I don't know. Here's what I will say. I'm the shortest of all of them. I'm pretty positive that I don't even want to. I have the best hair though. I'm going to go with that of the YouTube attorneys that talk about this shit. I definitely think I have the best hair. So could you post a link to Attorney Tom's channel? Yeah, I will look for that specific video and post it because he did a great breakdown, and I will post it in the show notes, and I will post it I will post it. So his song also cracks me up. I met Attorney Tom last year in person, and I was not aware of him on the platform. I just didn't know him. Very much enjoyed meeting him. Very much enjoy his videos. Just very smart dude. Does really serious cases and is involved in the Astroworld cases because again, catastrophic injury attorney. So I will find that video. He also kind of wins for the law tubers. Attorney Tom's thumbnail game is the strongest. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. Attorney Tom has the strongest thumbnail game of the attorneys on the YouTube. And Ryan Kavanaugh came for him too. It was really it's just very funny, this whole world. So he's got a video here somewhere about this. He does this, should Jeff Wittek sue, this one. All right. So I'll grab the link for that. Good video. With that, let's look at this lawsuit. Should Jeff Wittek sue? Yes. Did Jeff Wittek sue? Yes. Oh, Wrongful does have that Targaryen hair. That's a very fair point. It's a very bold statement for me to say I have the best hair out of the lawtubers with Wrongful's Targaryen hair. It's true. It's true. I'll take a tie with Wrongful. I'll take a tie with Wrongful. I have the best. I will take a tie with Wrongful. His hair is pretty glorious and it's natural, which probably gives him an edge over my hair that definitely needs the assistance. So the Targaryen hair is fantastic and sassy. All right, let's go. Oh, Targos has good hair too. Damn it. It's true. It's true. Lawyer, does have good hair. Let's go through this lawsuit real quick. Let's go. Where are we? This is just a form complaint, by the way. There's not a lot of tea here. This is just complaint, personal injury, other, negligence, intentional tort, intentional actions, personal injury, exemplary damages. They didn't check the jurisdiction. This is going to be an unlimited case, but they didn't check it. I don't know why. There's a checkbox missing, but whatever. Jeff Wittek suing David Dobrik as an individual, David Dobrik LLC and Dirt Gear Company LLC. So two companies plus Dobrik. David Dobrik LLC is a corporation. Dirt Gear Company LLC is a corporation. I did not research whether or not Dirt Gear is also a Dobrik LLC or whether Dirt Gear, and I'm wondering if Dirt Gear is the company that rented them the excavator. That would be my ponderance. They listed their does. You always list does. You have to. General negligence, intentional tort. Intentional tort means you've done an act, an affirmative act that has caused a harm. Tort is not the food. Tort is a civil harm for which you can recover damages. So shit that you did that's not criminal that you can be sued for, that is a tort. There we go. That's my definition of tort. Shit you can be sued for because you can recover for it that's not criminal. Tort. Plaintiff has suffered wage loss. I don't doubt that. Hospital medical expense, general damage, loss of earning capacity, other exemplary damages. Plaintiff prays for, this is the prayer for relief. Compensatory damages, those are the compensation ones. Punitive damages, those are the punishment ones, according to proof, and then the exemplary damages. And this is their statement of what happened. This is a very limited statement. I have not, Dirk Gear is the company. This is a first look. So with that, this is just a statement of what happened. This is the beginning of a lawsuit. June 25th, 2020, Provo, Utah, David Dobrik, as an individual on behalf on Dobrik LLC, leased, rented, appropriated an excavator from Dirt Gear Company LLC. Look, I love it when I'm like, I think this would make sense. And then it's like, Emily, keep reading. Emily, keep reading. This is why it's Lawyer Reacts Live today, because it's a first look. Dirt Gear Company LLC provided no training or instruction on how to use the excavator to David Dobrik or Dobrik LLC, or how not to use the excavator, including the safety features of the excavator. This matters because there is some conversation and has been some conversation. This is not in the lawsuit. This is internet conversation that excavators, if they are spinning too fast, may have an emergency shutoff that could stop the excavator. And that is a potential for what could have happened here, that there was a safety mechanism that stopped it because it was spinning too fast, causing Wittek to continue to go around and hit the side of the excavator. Whether or not it was a shutoff or whether David Dobrik did it, I think it's unclear at this point. After that, David Dobrik, individually and on behalf of the LLC, took the excavator to Utah Lake in Provo. In the weeks prior, Dobrik, and on behalf of company, had planned his social media comeback and had solicited the help of several collaborators/independent contractors. It's interesting to me that they're just assuming and accepting that the Vlog Squad are independent contractors, but they are just assuming and accepting that the Vlog Squad are independent contractors, including plaintiff, to effectuate the comeback. The plan was to have Dobrik individually. I'm just going to say Dobrik, and we know it means company. I'm not going to keep saying this. Dobrik at all. The plan was to have Dobrik drive said excavator and have people swing from it with various accessories, including wakeboards, etc. However, Dobrik and others, not plaintiff, began soliciting people to get on the excavator solely using a rope and swimming around. They've limited that, not plaintiff. Wittek was not involved in this. This was not his idea, is what they are saying in this. And again, this is a lawsuit. Lawsuits are allegations. Allegations. And began soliciting people to swing, to get on the excavator using solely the rope and swinging around. Other individuals tried this, noting that Dobrik individually and on behalf of company was doing so unsafely, and in fact warned him of the same. And we see that in the videos that Wittek has put up from one of the female members of the Vlog Squad. The chat is requesting I zoom in more on the document. I will try. It is small because it is a typed form. I can't do much more than that because then I can't see it. All right. We're looking at 2 monitors, y'all. You'll be glad to know, but I gotta travel first. So thank you. Let's see. We see that, and we see some of that in video on Jeff's released videos. After the warning, plaintiff was tasked by David with getting on the rope, piloted by David, individually and on behalf of the company, who then began using the excavator at unsafe speeds in a circle when David realized this, he slowed down the excavator. So they're alleging that Dobrik slowed the excavator. Thank you, Karina Koff. Appreciate it. There we go. That one. I don't know the name of all of the members of the vlog squad. I'm sorry. I watch people talking about historical dress and body language on YouTube. The vlog squad is not my corner of the interwebs because I'm old. However, David individually, it's very hard for me to cut that out and not say that sentence. However, David, having not been trained or advised by Dirt Gear Company LLC on how to use the excavator or how to slow it down, intentionally and noticeably slowed the excavator down too quickly, which caused plaintiff's momentum to slow down, and plaintiff struck the excavator due to the negligence of David, causing a myriad of injuries to plaintiff. A lot of injury. Like, there is no question that Jeff Wittek was injured in a way that will impact him for the rest of his life. And I think, again, after watching everything, the fact that Wittek survived this is stunning. It truly, that is how bad this was for Wittek. The fact that he survived this is, I don't know, luck, blessing, guardian angel, something. But this could have very, very easily been a fatality, and the fact that it wasn't is truly stunning. And good for Jeff Wittek, but now he has a life of dealing with the injuries that have come from this. And that is not easy as well. Dirt Gear Company, plaintiff alleges that Dirt Gear was guilty of malice and fraud. In the way that they released this, they will probably go after Dirt Gear for insurance. Because how do you just give some, y'all, how do you just give someone an excavator and be like, have fun? Don't fuck it up. Like, what? What? Is that a thing? I would have never in my life would have been like, I wonder if I could rent an excavator. But is that a thing you can just give people heavy machinery? Yeah. The facts supporting plaintiff claims are as follows. David Dobrik leased, rented, appropriated the excavator from Dirt Gear LLC, provided no training or instruction on how to use the excavator or not use the excavator, including the safety features of the excavator. And then this is the exact same statement as we saw above regarding David's liability. So that, and then we get into the amount of exemplary damages sought is $10 million. They might get more, they might not. You guys are like, yes, you can rent anything. It's wild. It's wild to me. So then there you go. $10 million. I think 10 million is a really reasonable number. When you look at life, because now you're looking at lifetime medical bills, alteration of life, alteration of working and earning capacity. You're just looking at a lifetime of expenses and lost potential earning and income due to this accident. So with that, Attorney Tom really does a great job of breaking down contributory negligence and where there could or could not be contributory negligence. It's absolutely what David is going to argue here, saying, but if it was your idea and if you did this and if you did that, there's contributory negligence. That will be determined if this goes to a jury trial by a jury saying, yes, maybe Jeff shouldn't have agreed to this. However, your actions outweigh that by 51%. Your actions outweighing that mean that you're responsible for this amount. Contributory negligence is something that will be discussed in a legal sense in this case. And contributory negligence, I don't think knocks Dobrik out of liability here at all. He's the one driving it. He's the one driving it. And so he is the one responsible once he is driving it. So I don't think, Wittek getting on the excavator with Dobrik is going to make this case a case where the contributory negligence matches to the point where Jeff Wittek's not going to recover. And that is when you're looking at injuries, when you're looking at torts, when you're looking at negligence, contributory negligence is what comes up. And that's what we're going to see in David Dobrik's response is, well, Jeff Wittek contributed to his own injury for these legal reasons. I think they will likely settle this. I can't imagine this would go to trial. I mean, you can't put this case in front of a jury easily. This is not for Dobrik. This is not a case you want to go to a jury because the video is chilling. This is a case they want to settle. If you're Jeff Wittek, if Dobrik doesn't want to settle with you, you take this to a jury and you play the video. And you're like, yeah, I trusted my friend to not try to fucking kill me. And he had done the other things, and I trusted that he wouldn't do what he did here, which was so different. And so I think even though there will be a contributory negligence argument, I don't think it will win the day. So we're going to go to the civil case cover sheets real quick just to go through them, and then we're just going to get to questions. Because contributory negligence is a conversation and a legally proper conversation. We don't know who David Dobrik's, I've seen the questions in the chat. We don't know who David Dobrik's attorney is yet, though I have seen clips of Ben Chu, Depp's attorney, talking about having a conversation with Dobrik. We'll see who appears in court. We're gonna just see as we go. But you don't want this. If you're Jeff Wittek, a jury's good for you. If you're David Dobrik, a jury's not good for you. It's just not. The video's fucking chilling. And that's what it is. So let's go to other personal injury, unlimited case. They checked it on this one. Let's see. This matter is not a complex matter, is not a class action lawsuit. And where's the other civil case cover sheet? So they did. Oh, I didn't pull it back up. Sorry. Civil case cover sheet. Lawyers, you have to do forms and check boxes. Unlimited amount exceeds $25,000. Other personal injury, not complex, not class action. It's not basic to Jeff Wittek. It's life altering, but it is a relatively uncomplicated negligence action. Did your negligence cause harm to someone? Yes or no? And then are there defenses to that? And that's what's going to happen. Let's see if there's anything else on this other cover sheet that is of help. It really is. Here's the rest of the causes of action. All right, good. Rest of the causes of action. This is the second cover sheet. Other personal injury, property damage, or wrongful death. Intentional bodily injury, property damage, wrongful death. So this is the intentional bodily injury. Intentional infliction of emotional distress, other personal injury. So those are the three causes of actions that they've indicated to the court, and those are the only ones that I see indicated. So that is what they are looking at. And we will see this fleshed out more in the weeks to come. But I'm not surprised Jeff Wittek sued. I think he had to. I think that he can't just rely on David being like, yeah, I'll take care of your medical expenses, because this is a lifelong injury. And with that, I'm seeing some notes in the chat that there is a new filing in Virginia. We're going to go look real quick. We're going to just go look real quick. The mods are like, no, we were getting to questions. Yes. And yes, I'm going to just look real quick. I'm going to look real quick because then I'm getting on a plane. And so if I don't look now, I'm going to be on a plane going, curses. So let me just look real quick. Yep. Plaintiff's opposition to motion to intervene. Let's take a look. There is a new filing. It says June 17th, and it's just popping up now. So just real quick, I'm going to make this real clear. I have a hard stop, unfortunately, because I have a meeting. So if you want to ask questions, please do not super chat more. I might not be able to get to them. This is going to be a real quick one. I don't know why this is up now, but this is going to be just a real quick look at the new motion that's been filed. It's not really a new motion that's been filed. It's a motion that is now just populating on the court website that's already been dealt with. So this has already been dealt with in court. This was plaintiff Depp's opposition to TMZ's motion to intervene. This was filed June 17th. This was their written motion. They made this motion orally in court. TMZ wasn't allowed to intervene. This is kind of mute, I think, or moot. It's moo. The point is moo. I think they are preserving this for the record and preserving this motion for the record. So this was dated May 25th. I don't know. I imagine that they filed it then with the court, but it is just populating its way into the court system, or they gave it to the court and didn't formally file it. It is completely moot because it's already been ruled on. Morgan Tremaine already testified. Done, done, done. That was quick. Now we can get to questions. It is a nothing burger. It's already happened. Preserving the record. Let's get to questions. I have questions. You have questions. We have questions. I've seen more questions in the chat, and I think I addressed it a few minutes ago, but I don't know who David Dobrik's attorneys will be. We will see when they appear in court. They have not answered. They have time to answer. Did David intentionally hurt Wittek, or was it actually an accident? They are alleging negligence, which means the actions were negligent, which accident, but you should have known better because what you did was negligent. So, but they are also saying it's an intentional tort. But intentional tort means you intended to do the action, stopping the excavator, not that you were setting out to harm Jeff Wittek. And I don't think there's any indication that anyone was setting out to get hurt in this. They were trying to make a video. But David Dobrik's operating an excavator with one hand, swinging somebody around from a rope while filming. Is that negligent operation of an excavator that landed somebody or ended up with somebody being very injured? Yeah. Zoom, is Camille going to represent David Dobrik? I saw a TikTok saying she had a meeting with him. The TikTok I saw was Ben Chu saying, I had a great talk with David Dobrik. I have no idea. Their firm is in California. Their firm does personal injury. I don't know. We will see. They're going to represent other clients. 650 on the front end already. Thank you, Call Me Al. I mean, we binged. I don't know where we're at now, but we might be more than that. Let me see. I'll pull it up as we're looking. Did you hear Elaine missed her court TV interview because she got called back into court? Allegedly, the judge was not happy with the interview and the info she was giving. Any insight? I have no insight. We've not seen anything publicly released. I generally don't have source. There's no sources here. I rely on, I tell you what I rely on, court documents and what's publicly available. So no insight. It might have been that she didn't want to keep doing interviews. What I saw Chanley Painter say was that Elaine canceled their interview because she had court or something came up in court. I'm not reading into that anymore until we see more. And we might see more. Can you talk about Hailey Bieber and her brand being sued for trademark infringement? Yes, it's on the list and I will get into it. I will look at it and see if there's anything there to cover. But I will look at it. I always look at intellectual property stuff's really interesting. What do you think about what they've done to Tug? I don't know who did what to Tug. I know people are always coming for Tug. I trust that Tug being the umbrella guy. It's hard. I mean, the pro Amber Heard folks are definitely aggressive in the way that they do things. I'm sure there are pro Johnny Depp folks that are aggressive in the way they do things. I just have not seen that. What lip gloss are you wearing today? I am wearing a Gerard Cosmetics lip liner. I believe the color I'm wearing today is Share, and then a little bit of my Laneige lip sleep mask that I love. So I have these in tubes and pots. So I love them and they smell delightful. So chapstick and lip liner is what I am wearing today. Haven't followed the Gabby Petito case closely, but was Gabby Petito physically abusive to Brian Laundrie and she wouldn't let him go get space to calm down? If so, I'm not sure I'm okay with Gabby Petito suing Brian Laundrie's parents. DeMarie, there's a lot to unpack in that. Gabby Petito's parents are suing. Was Gabby Petito physically abusive? There's a video from a traffic stop, and it seemed to me that the police could have made arrests at that traffic stop. Did that seem to me like reactional violence? I am not a part of that relationship, but I think there is a much deeper conversation to be had there. And I don't know the entirety of the circumstances because I have not watched all of the body camera footage. So I don't know if I am the best person to answer that. Either way, Gabby Petito was murdered by strangulation. Brian Laundrie admitted to murdering her, and her parents are trying to get answers. So she did not, no matter what fights they had, no one should be harmed or killed. Emily, super random, but you got to try chocolate cream cold brew at Starbucks on me. Claudette, I will. It's been sold out at my local Starbucks. Emily, I'm going to miss you while you're on vacay. Question, what do you think about the petition to end your stream by Eve Barlow? I have not, the stuff that's going on around Twitter. Well, I mean, people can have whatever voice they want. Nothing I do on YouTube violates YouTube's policies. It doesn't mean people will like or not like what I do. I break down court documents. I break down legal cases. I know people don't always like the way those legal cases shake out. And I understand that. Not everybody likes the way those legal cases shake out. And so am I surprised by that? No. Do I think that has any weight? No. Do I think it's kind of funny? Yes. I mean, people are mad that there's I think that people are mad, Eve Barlow among them, that the narrative can't be controlled. There is not a PR team that can control the narrative from this case. I don't know why NBC ended up editing the things they did. I talked about that in my video yesterday. I don't know why they made that choice, but it's not unreasonable to believe that Amber Heard or her team could have had editorial input before that aired. That could have happened. And if that did happen, there is some level of communication and control there. Generally, you cannot control the opinions people have on the internet. But in our chat, we do not harass, we do not threaten, and we all really do want to move on, but people won't stop talking, which means there's no moving on because it's not over yet. And we cover cases until they are over. So if people are frustrated with that, they're frustrated with that. They're allowed to have their opinion. But if someone tries to deplatform my channel, we're not going to just let that happen. Because we're a service here and we're a community. So that. Got the notification just in time. Hello, Jen Gerard. I was in full honored withdrawal. Have an awesome, well-deserved vacay. Make sure and stop by Texas. It's hot in Texas this time of year, but we will do that at some point. Azure, hi, first-time viewer. Been watching your reaction to Depp versus Heard from the start to finish post-verdict. I had a question. Would Amber Heard's DV arrest be a motion in limine? I'm sure it was dealt with in motions in limine. And it was kept out. They were not allowed to discuss that she had been arrested. And that was very, very clearly kept out. There was a lot kept out on both sides. LB said, I currently live in Wyoming and was born here when Gabby was first discovered missing. I was in Oregon, so this hits home for me, especially because I'm also nomadic. And yeah, it's just a very sad case. And Gabby Petito is by no means the only, woman who has ever gone missing, been murdered by someone in an intimate partner relationship. It touches on a lot, and it is just deeply, deeply sad. Thank you, Jen Gerard. And it's hard. Kathleen, did you hear about Fred Goldman applying for a renewal of his old judgment against OJ stemming from the wrongful death of his son, Ron Goldman? In 1997, OJ was ordered to pay $33 million to the Goldman family after he was found liable. Judgments do expire. I saw alerts on it. I have not had a chance to break it down, but judgments do expire. I'm not surprised he's going to keep doing that. The Laundries had multiple homes and a juice business. Their family has yacht brokers and generational wealth. The thing is, their son is an adult. So no matter what the parents have, they might not, the Petitos are not going to be able to get to that. So petition to say sadly yes to knowing David Dobrik. I should have changed the poll. I didn't know there was a lawsuit against him, though. There we go. Well, that's new. It was just filed. Does it seem weird to capitalize on her death? Verbal, if you're talking about the lawsuits, I think that her parents are seeking answers more than they're seeking money. And I think that's why they filed both. But also, if the money in the estate of Brian Laundrie can cover the funeral expenses and the expenses for Gabby Petito or go into the Gabby Petito Foundation, I don't think it's wrong for them to try to file the wrongful death suit. I'm not surprised that they did. Here for the truth. So being a civil suit, they can't charge the Laundries with obstruction of justice or harboring, aiding, and abetting. If there were grounds for that, it would have been done. It has not been done. The FBI investigated this case. There was no lacking of investigation in this case. They did not charge any of those things. Is there still time to do that? Yes. Do I think that will happen? Likely not. The FBI said the case was closed. So I think these civil cases are going to be the last kind of legal actions we see from the death and the murder of Gabby Petito. Liv is inside again. Hope you have a great day. I'm having a rough start, but you are a welcome distraction. Lots of love from one ADHD gal to another. Thank you for that. Thanks for covering this, Emily. So many questions. You explain things clearly. I have a hard time explaining things clearly with the Petito case because it is hard for me to parse emotion in this case. It is hard for me to parse motion and outrage and the legal facts. And I am very clear in the cases where it's harder for me. This case is hard for me. So Phoenix, absolutely. So, and that's why I do not talk about the Petito case a lot, because it is very, very hard for me to parse the feels and the laws. And so it takes a tremendous amount of energy to do that. And then I end up finding myself ADHD rambling as well. And thanks for covering this, Emily. So many questions. Anyway, you're welcome. Larissa said this case is close to home. Literally, I'm a DV survivor, and Brian was found multiple minutes from my house. Thank you for covering it with such respect. I very much try to. So I try to, and you are welcome. Flat Squirrel said, do you worry about media sensationalism, i.e. pretty white girl missing? With, I think BIPOC is the appropriate way to pronounce that, but Black, Indigenous, people of color, missing, murdered Indigenous women go unaddressed. Love you. Do I worry about that? Yes. Do I know how to address that? No. Do I want people to, do I hope that as we talk about people that are missing and talk about the things that happen in domestic violence relationships and that, cases, not just Gabby Petito's case, but this is something that happens. Do I hope that awareness brings awareness? Yes. Do I hope that talking about cases allows talking about other cases? Yes, absolutely. Do I think it is an issue? Absolutely. Do I understand why the media chooses to cover things? Sure don't. The thing I struggle with, particularly with missing persons cases, is in a lot of them, if the main media, if the legacy media doesn't choose to cover it, then alternative media doesn't have any information at all to bring awareness to it. And you see those that cover, especially those that cover missing person cases more, saying, I need more information. I need more information, and no one's covering it. And there's a lot of outcry for that. So that, but until we get legacy media to cover it, it's hard because a lot of independent creators aren't investigative journalists. I'm not an investigative journalist. I cover court cases. And that's a very hard thing. So how does media get pressured to cover things? I don't know. But I think the public goes a long way in saying, why aren't you covering this and bringing awareness? And I hope that alternative platforms or alternative media platforms can help put that pressure on to legacy media as they are trying to figure out how to compete. More voices are always better. Have you seen that Camille Vasquez might be David Dobrik's lawyer? I've seen discussion of that. Oh, my thing's binging. I'm going to have to speed run that. I've seen discussion of that. We'll see. Lawyers talk to people all the time and don't end up representing them. D. Marie said, my thing is if the situations were reversed, I think Gabby Petito's parents would have done the same as Brian Laundrie's parents. You do what you can to protect your kids. That's where I get stuck. Not a David Dobrik fan, but assumption of risk on Jeff's part. I don't think the risk that David Dobrik would abruptly stop the excavator and smack him into the side of it is going to work. Will there be discussions of whatever contributory negligence there may be? Yes. So, fun fact, Jeff had an appearance in Bad Girls Club back in the day. I had no idea. JD submitted a new motion. I have questions. I think we covered that. Hopefully, did you hear Amber Heard's team is going after Tug? I will go look at what's going on with Tug. All I know is that last night, Tug's tits was trending on Twitter. So I'm not surprised. It's interesting to watch people, especially in Amber Heard case realm or the realm of that case. Amber Heard talks about, I thought I had the right to speak. And then to watch those who support her actively try to silence someone like Tug is interesting because it's like, I thought I had a right to speak. Well, others also have the right to speak. You can't silence them just because you disagree. Emily not naturally having purple hair is the biggest shock since learning Johnny Depp didn't naturally have scissor fingers. Hannah, I'm so sorry to break the illusion. It's not real. My eyebrows also don't grow in this shape. I also need glasses. You have the best glasses. Facts. Thank you. I mean, because I need things. Love those locks on Lawyer You Know. Lawyer You Know has great locks. He was on WFLA yesterday with JB talking about the Petito case because he is in Florida. I thought you had to have a license to operate an excavator. I think it would go towards whether it was negligent if you need a license and then don't have one, but it doesn't seem like the state of Utah has done anything about it. The assumption when you pay rent heavy equipment is that you know how to use it. And maybe that's not a good assumption. Excavators are a huge part of what my construction trade does. I doubt rental company is liable for what you do once it's in your hands. Actually, I would think it would be the opposite. Thunder Rain, I would be interested to see what waivers are signed, but lawyers are going to sue everyone that's involved. It would be interesting to see what waivers are signed by Dobrik and what liability he assumed. And I imagine the company will come in and be like, this is the liability he assumed. So we'll see. Question, have you done the YouTube things? Do those. 650K, you'll be a real YouTuber in T's eyes very soon. I think he'll keep raising the bar. I think Travis will just keep raising the bar and just be like, Though I have been told, y'all, this is a secret. There's like 17,000 of us here. Replay crew, if you made it this. I think that there is interest from the teen in VidCon, because he's mentioned it a couple times. He's like, you're not going to VidCon. And I was going to go. And then when we had family stuff, I chose not to go because it was just going to be too much for me. And now, yes, there is a little bit of FOMO, but still it would have been too much. But I think there's interest there. So maybe if I take him with me next summer to VidCon, then we might see some like, oh, this is okay. Like, I think if there was any sort of benefit he's interested in, other than getting to use my cameras and microphones for things, then maybe. He's very interested in voice work. So he's been using some of my cameras to do stuff with his friends. So I will go. I mean, you definitely need to go to VidCon. I mean, maybe next year. This year, I didn't want to just wander around VidCon and be like, I'm at VidCon. And then Elise Myers was there, and then I'm like, damn it. There are actually creators I would like to see. So maybe next year. This year just didn't work out. Doesn't Dobrik have an obligation to keep safe independent contractors working for them? This is also going to be a part of what liability there is, what liability is assumed, what insurance he has. Yes. Is this a workplace? Is this not? Susie, this super chat is for G. His performance made my week. I will let him know that. I stand with and for you, Emily. We ride with you. Thank you. It's just ridiculous. The Twitter stuff. People are mad. I get it. It's weird that there's a graphic and a petition, but also, okay. Could anything happen with David's DACA status with this? I am not an expert in immigration in any way. But from my best understanding, civil lawsuits should not impact that in any way. Question: if the Laundrie parents knew Gabby was dead and where her body was located, why wouldn't they be some form of accessory after the fact? Knowledge and affirmatively hiding that knowledge are two different things. There has to be affirmative action, not just knowledge. There has to be affirmative something. And if it helps, I will do a breakdown of what those things mean with accessory after the fact. That is much more in my wheelhouse, but it has to be more than just I was told and I said nothing, because you're not obligated to say anything legally, even though it feels morally reprehensible. Tug's real name was published in an article that Newsweek just put out. I know that he has gone to lengths to keep himself a anonymous creator, so that's unfortunate. You mentioned Astroworld for a quick second. Any idea of when another update on that case will be? I'm trying to figure out when I'm going to get to things in July. I'm hoping that after tomorrow, it's tomorrow the 24th, I'm hoping that after tomorrow's court hearing in Depp v. Heard, there will be a pause, and then we will be able to go from there. But with that, you guys, I have to bounce because I have a meeting. Thank you for joining me on a random Thursday. I actually kind of like doing the morning streams with y'all. We'll have to discuss whether we want to just do some more morning streams. Eve tried calling the LawTubers internet journalist. I'm a lawyer. I am not a journalist. I don't want to be a journalist. If I wanted to be a journalist, I wouldn't have spent the money to go to law school. I break down legal stuff. I tell you what I know. I tell you what I don't know. I tell you when I speculate. I tell you when I suppose things. I tell you how I decide things. And I tell you when things are hard and when things are not. And I tell you how I see it. And I tell you how I feel about it. And that's what we do here. With that, thank you for being here. Thank you for being a law nerd. I would keep talking forever, but I really, really, really do have to go. Thank you. All right. I will see you guys. I will be gone for Friday Night Live. I will be gone for Coffee and Cursey Words, and then I will be back. So follow me around the socials at the Emily D. Baker to stay in the loop with what I'm doing, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
Connect with me everywhere. I'm at the Emily D. Baker. If you guys want to join the text, just text Emily.com. If you want to join the channel, LawNerdsUnite.com. Happy to have you. Support what we do here on the YouTube.